My daughter vanished when she was 6. 17 years later, I found her, on TikTok. I used to dream about finding her. Even after everyone else stopped believing she was alive, I held on to that fragile thread of hope like it was a lifeline. It wasn't logical. It wasn't rational. But grief doesn't play by those rules. I still remember the last time I saw her. Her tiny hand slipped out of mine for just a second. 1 second. We were in the park. Autumn leaves crunching beneath our feet, laughter bouncing off the trees. She was chasing a red balloon, her curls bouncing with every step. And then, nothing. A flash of pink jacket disappearing behind a tree, and silence. That silence has haunted me for 17 years. Her name was Lily. 6 years old. Loved orange popsicles and wearing mismatched socks. She used to tell everyone she was going to be a pirate when she grew up. I can still hear her giggle when I close my eyes. That high-pitched, unapologetic joy. We searched for weeks. Months. Years. The police did what they could, but leads dried up, tips turned into dead ends, and soon the world moved on. Everyone but me. My marriage didn't survive it. My career barely did. I became the guy with the missing daughter. The tragedy everyone patted on the back before slowly backing away. But I never stopped. Every birthday, I lit a candle. Every year, I filed the same report, hoping some new technology or old conscience would bring her back. I followed every missing person subreddit, hired private investigators, even chased psychics and long-shot DNA tests. And then, one night, scrolling aimlessly through TikTok of all things, I froze. There she was. Older, taller, clearly a young woman now. But those eyes? That smile? I knew them. My heart didn't hesitate. It just broke open. The video wasn't even anything special. Just her laughing with friends in what looked like a diner. But the caption hit me like a freight train. At Marley Rose, dinner with the best crew glowing star #found family. Marley. Her name was Marley now. I must have watched it 50 times. Comparing her nose, the curve of her chin, even the way she tucked her hair behind her ear. She always did that when she was nervous. My hands trembled as I hit pause and took a screenshot. My first instinct was to scream. To call someone. Anyone. But who? The cops who closed the file. My ex-wife who begged me to let go a decade ago. Instead, I opened a blank document and wrote 2 words, she's alive. What followed was a week of obsession. I combed through every video on that account. Every tagged friend. Every comment. Clues. Locations. Anything. She had a scar on her left arm in one video, the exact same place where Lily fell off her bike at 4. There was no doubt in my mind. But the question wasn't just who she was now. It was why she was gone. Why did she vanish that day? Who took her? Was she safe all these years? Did she even know she was missing? And worst of all, would she even remember me? I had to find out. So I did what any broken father with nothing left to lose would do. I sent her a message. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. My mind was a storm of what-ifs and could-it-be's and what the hell do I do nows. Every logical part of me screamed, wait. Don't rush. But the other part, the father part. He didn't care about logic. He just saw his daughter. Alive. Breathing. Smiling. I typed out that message 100 different ways. Hi, I think I might know who you are. Do you remember a park? A red balloon? This is going to sound crazy, but I think I'm your dad. Each version felt either too much or not enough. I finally settled on something simple. Hey Marley. I saw your video. This is hard to explain, but I believe I might be someone from your past. Can we talk? Then I stared at the screen. Finger hovering. Send. I sat there, heart pounding, watching the little paper plane icon disappear. That was it. Out of my hands. I waited. Minutes stretched into hours. I refreshed the app like a man possessed. Nothing. But I wasn't giving up. The next morning, I tracked down her Instagram through a tagged friend. More posts. More pieces. A video of her dancing in her room, my daughter dancing, the same spin she used to do in the living room when she thought no one was watching. That's when I saw it. The necklace. A silver chain with a tiny purple seashell pendant. My ex gave it to Lily for her 5th birthday. Handmade, fragile, barely the size of a dime. Lily wore it every day until the day she vanished. And here it was. Still around her neck. I took a screenshot and my hands shook so hard, I almost dropped the phone. This wasn't just some girl who looked like her. It was her. She hadn't responded to my message. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe she didn't believe it. Or maybe, someone was stopping her. I dug deeper. Through her tagged friends, I found a guy named Zeke. He seemed close to her. In a lot of photos. Protective. I messaged him. Hey. I need to talk to you about Marley. It's important. Please don't ignore this. He replied in less than an hour. Who are you? I hesitated. How do you explain something like this over DMs? I believe Marley is someone very important to me. Someone I lost. I don't want to freak her out. I just need to talk. Can we meet? There was a pause. Then. You better not be messing with her. She's been through enough. That line hit me like a freight train. Been through enough? What did that mean? I typed back, I'm not here to hurt her. I just need 5 minutes. Please. He left me on read. But the next morning, I got a new message. From Marley. Who are you really? My heart stopped. I had one shot to get this right. So I told her the truth. Not all of it, not yet, just enough to plant the seed. Just enough to crack the surface. My name is Ben. I used to have a daughter named Lily. She was 6 when she disappeared. That necklace you wear. I gave it to her mother. She gave it to Lily. I believe, you might be her. She didn't respond. Not that day. Not the next. But on the 3rd day, my phone buzzed. Where did I go missing? And just like that, the door opened. Now came the hard part. Convincing her I wasn't crazy. And figuring out who the hell took my daughter, and why she didn't know who she really was. Where did I go missing? 7 words. But they carried 17 years of silence. I stared at the screen, heart jackhammering in my chest, the air in the room suddenly too thin. I typed slowly. You disappeared from Riverside Park. October 12, 2008. It was a Sunday. She saw the message almost immediately. Then, 3 dots. Typing. Then nothing. Just silence. I waited. Phone in hand. Barely blinking. My fingers clenched so tight I thought I might crush it. 15 minutes passed. Then 30. Then she replied. I don't remember a park. I don't remember that name. But that necklace, it was the only thing I had when I was found. Found. The word rattled around in my head like a stone in a jar. Who found you? I typed. She responded almost instantly. A woman named Carolyn. She said I was wandering alone at a bus station. Said I didn't know my name. I was 6. No ID. Just the necklace. I stood up. Pacing. My brain racing. She had amnesia. Was she drugged? Coached? I asked her the only thing I could think of. Did Carolyn adopt you? Sort of, she replied. She was my foster. But I never left. Took her last name at 18. Carolyn. Foster mother. Marley's last name was Rose. Carolyn Rose. I opened a new browser tab and started digging. The first result was a glowing community blog post. Local hero Carolyn Rose honored for 25 years of foster care. Photos. Smiling. Holding a plaque. Surrounded by kids. I scrolled, feeling sick. Then another article, older. A mention of a 6-year-old girl found abandoned at Union Bus Terminal in 2008. No ID. Silent. No memory. That had to be Lily. The dates lined up. The age. The necklace. I sent Marley the article. This is you, isn't it? Another long pause. Then she wrote. It is. My legs gave out. I dropped to the floor. No theatrics. Just, collapsed. The kind of collapse you only feel when your soul has been holding its breath for almost 2 decades. She was alive. Not a ghost. Not a memory. Alive. But the mystery was only beginning. I asked the question that had been burning in me since the night she vanished. Did Carolyn ever try to find out who you were? Where you came from? She replied. She said she did. That she called the police, but no one ever matched my description. Said the system failed. I believed her. Did she ever try DNA? News coverage? Posters? No. She said it would only traumatize me more. My jaw clenched. Because that was a lie. I had posters. I did news. I was on every local station. Lily's face was everywhere for months. If she tried even once, she would have found me. Carolyn didn't fail to find me. She chose not to. And that changed everything. I looked at the photo again, Carolyn smiling with that plaque, surrounded by kids like trophies. What if Lily wasn't the first? What if Carolyn didn't find her? What if she took her? I messaged Marley again. I need to meet you. In person. Please. Another pause. Not yet, she wrote. I want to believe you. But this is a lot. I need time. I understood. I didn't like it. But I understood. Still, I had a lead. Carolyn Rose. And I was going to find out exactly who she was. Because someone stole my daughter. And I was done waiting. Carolyn Rose lived in a modest house at the end of a quiet cul-de-sac. Blue shutters. Wind chimes. A ceramic frog on the porch. Everything about it screamed normal. But I wasn't looking for normal anymore. I parked a block away, my heart pounding like I was about to commit a crime. Maybe I was. I wasn't even sure if what I was doing was legal. But I didn't care. I had one photo in my hand. Lily, 6 years old, beaming in a polka-dot dress. I stared at it one more time before slipping it into my coat pocket. And then I knocked. The door creaked open slowly. Can I help you? Her voice was calm. Warm. The kind of voice that disarms you. Hi, are you Carolyn Rose? She smiled. Yes. I swallowed hard. I'm Ben. I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions. It's about a girl you fostered back in 2008. A flicker. Just a flicker. Her smile faltered for a second. Most people wouldn't catch it. But I did. You must be talking about Marley, she said, stepping outside and closing the door behind her. Yes, I remember her. Sweet girl. Quiet. She folded her arms like a shield. I just wanted to ask, when she came to you, do you remember what she had with her? Any belongings? Nothing but the necklace, she said. A little seashell thing. And some kind of stuffed rabbit. But that was falling apart. So she remembered. Every detail. Did you ever try to find her family? She hesitated. Just long enough to answer my question. Of course, she said. I filed reports. Called missing children's hotlines. The case went cold. You never tried DNA? It wasn't as common back then, she said quickly. Not true. DNA testing for missing children was very much in use by 2008. I knew because I submitted Lily's profile to every database I could find. I ran her DNA back then, I said quietly. Through every national database. If her profile had been submitted, I would have known. Her lips tightened. Are you saying something, Mr. Ben? My name is Ben Foster. Lily Foster was my daughter. She vanished in October 2008. And I believe you raised her. There it was. The shift. Her eyes darted. Her hands twitched. A dozen micro-expressions in less than 2 seconds. She knew. That's a serious accusation, she said slowly. Carefully. It's not an accusation. It's the truth. A long, tense pause. Would you like to come inside? Every instinct screamed no. But I nodded. She led me into a cozy living room. Lace curtains. Soft music playing low. Photos on the wall, dozens of children. None of them Marley. I had many foster children over the years, she said, catching my stare. But not a single picture of her. Some children prefer privacy. I sat on the edge of the couch, my back straight, my breath shallow. Why didn't you try harder to find her parents? She sighed, and for the first time, something in her voice cracked. Because she didn't want to remember, she whispered. She cried every night for a week and didn't speak for months. When she finally did, she begged me not to send her away. I stared at her. She was 6. Scared. Confused. It was your job to help her remember. She looked down. I told myself I was protecting her. No, I said, my voice steady but cold. You were protecting yourself. She didn't deny it. I pulled the photo from my pocket. Lily, 6 years old. This is the girl you kept from me. She reached for it. I pulled it back. You don't get to hold her. Not anymore. She folded her hands. Silent. What if I go to the police? You should, she said. Maybe it's time. Something in her tone changed. Like she was tired. Like she'd been waiting for this moment and dreading it all the same. There are things you don't know, Mr. Foster. Like what? Her eyes met mine. She wasn't alone when I found her. My skin went cold. What do you mean? There was a man, she said. He was with her. She was terrified of him. He ran when I approached. That's why I didn't call the police right away. I was scared he'd come back. 1,000 new questions exploded in my brain. Did she say his name? Describe him? No. She called him, the man in the gray coat. That's all. I stood up, heart racing. You need to tell the police everything. She nodded. Quietly. I will. But she needs to hear it from you, too. The truth. The whole thing. Because what happened back then, it's not finished. I stepped outside into the cold air, my lungs aching. Because I thought the nightmare was over. But now I knew. It had only just begun. The man in the gray coat. That sentence played on a loop in my mind the entire drive home. It was like a splinter behind my eye, nagging, pulsing, impossible to ignore. Every theory I'd built in my head for the last 17 years had just crumbled. There was someone else. Someone who ran. Someone she feared. Who the hell was he? The next morning, I did what I hadn't done in years. I opened the old storage box under my bed. The one I hadn't touched since I gave up hope. Inside were stacks of files, newspaper clippings, voice recordings. Lily's favorite storybook. The pink headband she wore that day. And buried at the bottom, the original police report. I skimmed until I found the line. No witnesses reported seeing the child leave the park. One man in a gray jacket was seen walking near the tree line around the same time, but no connection was confirmed. I nearly dropped the page. I had seen that line 1,000 times. But back then, it meant nothing. Now, it meant everything. He was real. I called the detective who handled the case all those years ago. Detective Merrill. Retired now, but I still had his number. He picked up on the second ring. Foster? Haven't heard that name in a while. I found her, I said. Silence. Jesus Christ. You found Lily? She goes by Marley now. But yes. She's alive. Where? How? Long story. But there's something else. The man in the gray coat. His voice turned flat. That was never confirmed. But it was mentioned. You noted it. Because a jogger mentioned it. But we had no camera footage, no other witnesses. It was a dead end. It's not a dead end anymore, I said. Carolyn Rose said she saw him too. He was with Lily, Marley, when she found her. And she was terrified of him. That got his attention. You're telling me a known foster parent found your daughter with a man, and never reported any of this? That's exactly what I'm telling you. He cursed under his breath. We need to reopen this. Can you do that? Even now? Let me make some calls. If you're right, we're not just talking about neglect. We might be looking at abduction. That word. Abduction. It tasted different now. Less like pain, more like clarity. After we hung up, I messaged Marley. We need to talk. Face to face. Please. It's about the man in the gray coat. She replied faster than I expected. I've been having dreams about him since we talked. Do you remember anything else? His face. His voice. Just the coat. Always the coat. And the smell. Like oil and cigarettes. That narrowed it down. Barely. But then she added something else. And a song. He used to hum something. Over and over. I don't know the words, just the tune. It made my skin crawl. I called her. She picked up. Can you hum it? I asked. A long pause. Then, through the speaker, a soft, slow melody. I didn't recognize it. But I recorded it. I posted the clip anonymously on a music identification forum. Asked if anyone could name the tune. That night, a reply came in. It's an old folk lullaby. German. Called Der Fuchs geht roughly translates to The Fox is around. It's not very common. A chill ran down my spine. I looked up the lyrics. They were about a fox who sneaks into a farm at night to steal chickens, tiptoeing through the dark. Always watching. A predator. I called Detective Merrill again. The man used to hum a German lullaby about a fox. German? Are you sure? Positive. He went silent. There was a guy, he said slowly. 10 years before Lily vanished. Another kid went missing in the next county. Similar circumstances. Her foster mother said she remembered the guy humming something creepy in German. But it was never confirmed. I felt the bottom fall out from under me. Was the girl found? No. The room spun. Find that file, I said. We might be dealing with the same man. As I hung up, something in me shifted. This wasn't just about getting my daughter back anymore. This was about stopping whatever had started long before she disappeared. Because someone out there had been hunting children. And he was still out there. Detective Merrill called me the next morning. His voice was different this time. Sharper. Quieter. Like he was measuring every word. Ben, he said, I found the case file. You need to see it for yourself. We met at a dusty diner halfway between our towns. He slid a manila folder across the booth, and I opened it with hands I couldn't quite keep still. Inside was a photo of a girl. 7 years old. Blonde, freckled, missing her 2 front teeth. Her name was Ivy Hall. Gone since 1998. Same age as Lily, I whispered. He nodded. Disappeared from a farmer's market. Witnesses saw her with a man in a gray overcoat. Tall. Unshaven. Humming something. I already knew what. The report was nearly identical to Lily's, down to the way Ivy had been holding a stuffed toy when she vanished. No security footage. No suspects. No leads. And you never connected the 2 cases? We had nothing but a coat and a hum, Merrill said. Too vague. Until now. He leaned in. There's more. The lullaby you mentioned. Der Fuchs geht. A linguist friend of mine traced it back further. It was used in Eastern Europe in the 1970s. As a camp song. Camp? Specifically, a psychiatric reform camp for children in East Germany. The camp was eventually shut down, too many abuse allegations. Records were sealed. But survivors remembered the guards singing that song to intimidate them. I felt sick. What does that mean? It means our guy might not just be some random predator. He might be part of something older. Organized. I sat back, trying to breathe. This was no longer a story about one missing girl. It was a network. A legacy of trauma passed down like a virus. We need to find out who Carolyn really is, I said. Where she came from. Who she knew. Merrill nodded. Already started. And guess what? Carolyn Rose isn't her birth name. Changed it legally in 1993. Before that, she was Carola Rice. Born in Frankfurt. Immigrated in '92. My mouth went dry. You think she was part of the camp? I think she might have been one of the kids. Maybe even a victim. Or something worse. That night, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts kept circling one truth: if Carolyn knew who the man was, if she had seen him before, maybe even grown up with him, why didn't she say so? Unless she was protecting him. Or afraid. I messaged Marley. Do you still live with Carolyn? Not anymore. Moved out last year. But we talk. Sometimes. Why? I need you to be careful. Don't meet with her alone. Not until we know more. Okay, you're scaring me. I know. I'm sorry. But something's wrong. An hour later, she sent another message. I called her. Asked about the man. She told me to stop asking. Said some things are better left buried. What else did she say? That if I keep digging, I'll regret it. Then she hung up. I stared at that message for a long time. Because that wasn't a warning. It was a threat. 2 days later, I got another call from Merrill. He sounded rattled. Ben. We have a problem. Carolyn Rose was found unconscious in her home. Overdose. They think it was deliberate. I felt like the floor vanished beneath me. Is she alive? Barely. My mind flashed to Marley. Does she know? Not yet. You should be the one to tell her. But Ben, before you do, there's something else. Something we found in Carolyn's safe. What is it? His voice dropped. A list. First names. Ages. Dates. All handwritten. It looks like. Looks like what? It looks like a record. A log. Of every child who stayed in her house. But not just the ones the system sent her. Some of these names never show up in any official files. Not in social services. Not in foster care. I gripped the phone, breath shallow. How many? At least 20. The silence between us felt like it could split the earth in half. Then he said it. This isn't a case anymore, Ben. It's a conspiracy. And we just cracked it open. My hands were shaking. Because I thought I was fighting to get my daughter back. Now I knew. I was fighting to expose something monstrous. And they would do anything to keep it hidden. The list was written in blue ink, in a careful, looping script that felt more like a diary than a ledger. Each entry was terrifying in its simplicity. Jonas, 7, 2003. Ran. Ellie, 6, 2004. Taken. Marcus, 5, 2005. Sick. Lily, 6, 2008. Stayed. 21 names in total. Some had notes. Some didn't. One just said, gone. But it wasn't just the names that made my stomach twist. It was the dates. Each entry was exactly 1 year apart. Always in October. They were timed, I whispered. Planned. Detective Merrill nodded. We're looking at a pattern. Someone was bringing these children to her. And every October, one would disappear. I stared at the word next to Lily's name. Stayed. Why her? Why did she stay? What about taken? I asked. Does that mean someone came for them? Possibly. Or worse, they were given. My blood turned to ice. Given to who? Merrill slid another paper across the table. A grainy photo printed from an old DMV file. It was him. Gray coat. Sunken eyes. Thick mustache. Expression flat like rotting wood. We identified him through a background check on one of Carolyn's old addresses, Merrill said. He used the name Dieter Vogel. He paid her rent for over 3 years. In cash. She knew him. Yes. And she lied about it. I felt dizzy. Like the air had been punched out of my lungs. He's still out there. Merrill looked at me. Eyes tired. We don't know that. But if he is, he's been doing this for decades. That night, I sat in my apartment with every light on. Staring at the photo. Trying to memorize every wrinkle in that man's face. I messaged Marley. I need to show you something. We met at a library an hour later. Quiet. Neutral. Safe. When she walked in, I saw it immediately, the tension in her shoulders, the way she kept scanning the room. She was scared. But she was also brave. I laid out the document slowly. The photo. The list. A copy of the page with her name. She didn't speak for a long time. She lied to me, she said at last. Voice flat. Eyes locked on the paper. She lied about everything. You weren't the only one, I said. But you were the only one who stayed. She looked up. Why me? I didn't have the answer. But I could see the shift happening in her. The armor cracking. You remember more than you think, I said gently. That song, the coat, there might be more. You just have to let it surface. She closed her eyes. Sometimes I hear him at night. In my dreams. Saying things. Not in English. What kind of things? She took a breath. Then whispered. Komm mit. Say brav. Nur ein Spiel. My heart clenched. What does that mean? Come with me. Be good. Just a game. We sat there in silence. Then she asked the question I had been waiting for. What do we do now? We find him. Her jaw tightened. And then what? We turn him in. If we can. And if we can't? I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I didn't know. But I did know one thing. If he came for her once, he could come again. And this time, we had to be ready. The man had a name. Dieter Vogel. But that wasn't the part that scared me. What scared me was that he had vanished in 2012. No address. No employment. No tax records. Just gone. Like smoke. Which meant one of two things. He was dead. Or he was hiding. Detective Merrill put in a formal request with Interpol. Apparently, Vogel's name had been flagged in a 1991 child trafficking report in Austria. Never charged. Just mentioned. Another ghost in a system built to forget. But ghosts leave fingerprints. And we were going to find them. Marley and I started with Carolyn's house. After the overdose, she was placed in a medically induced coma. The house was sealed off. But Merrill pulled strings. Got us in. We shouldn't be doing this, Marley said as we stepped inside. It feels wrong. She already did the wrong part. We're just cleaning it up. It was exactly how I remembered. Cozy. Safe. A lie. We split up. Marley checked her old bedroom. I took the basement. The air downstairs was thick. Still. The walls lined with shelves full of storage bins and file boxes. Most were labeled with years. 1999, 2000. 2001, I opened one. Inside were drawings. Crayon portraits of kids. Names scribbled on the corners. Ellie. Marcus. Jonas. All the names from the list. Some had XS drawn over them. I opened another bin. Inside, a single item, a gray wool coat. I froze. It was child-sized. I pulled it out. Beneath it, a stack of Polaroids. Not posed. Not cheerful. Surveillance shots. Kids playing in parks. Walking to school. Blurry. Distant. I flipped one over. Target confirmed. October 4th. My stomach turned. This was stalking. Planning. Years of it. Ben. Marley called from upstairs. I ran up. She stood at the window, pale. Look. Across the street, a car. Idling. Not parked. Not moving. Just sitting there. Windows tinted black. It was there when we arrived, she said. I thought it was a neighbor. But now. I stepped onto the porch. The car sped off. Not fast. Just fast enough to say one thing. We see you. I got Merrill on the phone. Get out of the house. Now. Don't go back. Don't sleep there. I'll assign someone to watch your place. Marley and I stayed in a motel that night. She barely spoke. Just stared at the ceiling like it held answers. Do you think he saw me? She asked finally. I think he's always been watching. She turned to me. Then I want to stop running. What do you mean? I mean I want to bait him. Lure him out. Use me. I nearly dropped my coffee. Absolutely not. He wants me, doesn't he? That doesn't mean we serve you up. I'm not a kid anymore, Dad. That word hit me like a hammer. Dad. I nodded slowly. We do it smart. On our terms. No risk to you. She shook her head. No. On my terms. And that was the moment I realized something. Lily was gone. But Marley? She was a force to be reckoned with. We made the plan the next morning. She'd post a video on TikTok. One designed to reach him. A reenactment of a memory only he would recognize. The melody. The lullaby. She filmed it in silence. Just her, standing in the woods, wearing the child-sized gray coat I found in the basement. No words. Just humming. The caption read. You remember this, don't you? We posted it. Then we waited. 3 hours later, an account with no followers, no photo, no name, just a black circle, commented. Be good. Come with me. I looked at Marley. She looked back. He's coming. I picked up the phone. Meryl. We need backup. Now. Because the trap was set. And the fox was finally coming out of the shadows. We didn't sleep. We watched the screen. Every minute. Every comment. Every shadow that passed the motel window. Marley kept humming. Softly. Over and over. Like she was daring him to respond again. And he did. Another comment. Same faceless account. Where are you, little fox? I sent the screenshot to Meryl. He replied instantly, we traced the IP. He's within 50 miles. We're narrowing it down. Keep her safe. Marley paced the room. Her fingers tapping a nervous rhythm against her thigh. You think he'll come tonight? I think he never left. She turned to me. Eyes sharp. I want to be the one to end it. You will. But not alone. We drove to a secure location set up by Meryl. An abandoned campground wired with hidden cameras and plainclothes officers. It was a perfect echo of the past, pine trees, dead leaves, the smell of cold soil. Marley sat on a bench in the center clearing. Wearing the coat. Humming. My heart beat so loud I could barely hear the wind. I waited in the surveillance van, watching her through a monitor. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then we saw it. Movement. A man stepped into the clearing from the woods. Tall. Gaunt. Dressed in gray. It was him. He didn't run. Didn't rush. Just walked with slow, deliberate steps. Marley froze. But didn't move. She whispered into her mic, I see him. We were ready. SWAT on standby. Meryl gripping his radio. But then the man did something none of us expected. He knelt. Like he was praying. You remembered, he said. His voice was low. Raspy. Broken. Marley didn't speak. I kept you safe, he said. From the others. They wanted worse. I gave you soft music. Let you sleep. I wanted to rush out. Grab him. But Meryl held up a hand. Let her talk. Marley's voice was calm. Why me? You didn't scream. You listened. You were the quiet one. What happened to the others? He paused. A long, sick silence. Gone. You took them. I delivered them. To who? He looked up, eyes hollow. The woman. The collector. My blood ran cold. Carolyn. Meryl whispered, "We need to move." But Marley stood up. "You're done," she said. "No," he whispered. "You came to me. You came back." She stepped backward. "I came to end this." He lunged. The forest exploded. Officers swarmed. Voices shouted. Boots stomped. And then, the snap of zip ties. He was down. Face in the dirt. I ran to Marley. She collapsed into me. Shaking. Not crying. Just empty. Like something enormous had been ripped out of her. Meryl approached. "We got him." And his prints match files from the '91 case in Austria. And Carolyn? Still in the hospital. But now, she's got a lot more to answer for. They took Vogel away in silence. He didn't resist. He just stared at Marley the whole time. Like he still believed she belonged to him. But she didn't. She never did. She was mine. That night, back at the motel, Marley spoke first. "It feels over. But not finished. We still have pieces," I said. "Still have names to trace. Kids to find." She nodded. "Then let's find them. Together." She looked at me. "Always." And for the first time in 17 years, I felt the weight start to lift. Not gone. Not yet. But lighter. Because the past had finally stopped chasing us. Now we were chasing it. 3 weeks later, the trial began. The courtroom was packed. Press, families, strangers who followed the story like a true crime podcast come to life. But for me, it wasn't about spectacle. It was about truth. Dieter Vogel sat in a gray suit that matched his coat. Blank. Unblinking. The predator exposed. And Marley? She walked into that courtroom like a storm in human form. Steady. Cold. Unshakable. She took the stand. Swore an oath. And told the world everything. Her voice didn't shake. She described the bus station. The fear. The lullaby. She said his name aloud. And I watched him flinch. The jury saw it too. The prosecution brought out the photos. The logbook. The coat. The DNA evidence. And then, a miracle. One of the names in Carolyn's list, Jonas, 7, 2003. Ran, was matched to a missing person report filed in Germany. Jonas W. had been abducted at age 7. Never found. Until now. He was alive. Living under a new identity in Sweden. Traumatized. Silent for years. But when he saw Vogel's face on the news, he came forward. And when he testified, it was like fire across the courtroom. The case cracked wide open. This wasn't just about Marley. Or Lily. This was about dozens. Maybe hundreds. Carolyn, still in recovery, was charged with conspiracy and obstruction. More victims came forward. Foster kids who remembered strange visits. Lullabies. Cameras. And every time a name matched a date, we got a piece of the puzzle back. Marley and I started something else, too. A foundation. We called it Foxlight. For every child who vanished into the dark. It wasn't about closure. It was about justice. It was about never letting silence win again. One night, sitting on our porch, Marley looked out at the dusk and said, "Sometimes I still wonder who I would have been if that day never happened. If I'd grown up with you. With Mom." I took her hand. "You're still her. Just stronger." She smiled. That crooked smile I thought I'd never see again. Maybe I needed to disappear to become who I am. I didn't know what to say to that. But I knew she was right. And maybe, just maybe, some stories aren't just about what was lost. They're about what we find in the ruins.